Safety Net Studio presents.
I'm going to have to learn how to drive stick. I don't know how. But I love...
You do. You know how. You're just not good at it.
Yeah, I'm not good at it.
Because I made it very clear when I was teaching you how to drive. The ability and...
Well, I just don't do it. We don't have a stick car for me to practice.
We did when we were down in Mexico.
Yeah, that's a whole different... I drove everywhere in Mexico because you'd go for 3 months. So I had to drive. I had to learn very quickly. And I mean, lots of times we'd go to Chichen Itza. It's 2.5 hours away. And you're driving in Mexico. And the rules? I mean, I complain now about people on the perimeter not using their blinker, but I mean, that's a whole different ball game out there.
Down in Mexico, they're more like suggestions.
It is a free all suggestion. You look nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
You look lovely as always.
I really like this suit jacket. This is a thrifted one, right?
Basically everything I wear is thrifted outside of my underwear and socks.
I don't know why it's weird, but we're going to just fist bump on that because you and I have become such massive thrifters. If you're not in the thrifting game, I'm telling you, you got to start thrifting. So good for the environment, for everything, but there's just so much there. There's so much there. And if you like your brands and you know what you like, it's a fun process. Give me some headphones and a cart and let's go. There's nothing better than finding something and knowing that it's X amount of dollars and getting it for under $10.
Yeah, I think most of my, like I said, my underwear, my socks, and my like the t-shirts that I wear underneath are all store bought.
Yeah.
But all the outerwear is all thrifted, and I don't know why. I think it was a subliminal thing, but I thought if I'm going to be thrifting, I'm going to buy the best I possibly can in there. And yeah, I
like it.
It's age appropriate.
Yes, it is.
Which I like. I'm dressed for almost every occasion.
I'm dressed to
Impress.
teach yoga, do ballet, or work out. I'm wearing a one-piece jumpsuit. I'm surprised I remember being like, wow, girls look so cool wearing those. I wonder if I'll ever get one. And then I found one. I found a superstore. I was like, well, I'm going to do it.
It's amazing.
So one piece. So the only thing about a one piece is
hard to go pee.
Yeah, like you gotta make sure the door is closed, and you're like, is it locked? Okay, because you're really taking everything down, and you're like.
That was one of the debates my buddies and I, my nerdy buddies and I would have going. It's really not ideal if you're a superhero. Some of those outfits they're wearing, and luckily a great movie by the name of Mallrats was able to validate some of those thoughts. Where Jason Lee had a conversation with Stan Lee about. Some of the lesser known talked about problems that superheroes have.
Yeah, like having a cape.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like that's going to get stuck in a lot of turbines,
Listen, before we really get going into today's topic, and I think it's a good one, and it's something that's coming up in the next year of our lives, but you always talk about the three hills. The three hills that you should have. There's three things that you can really do to support this show right here that we'd really appreciate. If you're listening on Spotify, you can go down and comment. And I'm going to give you a bit of a prompt later on that I'm really actually curious. Truly, I'm curious to know. You can comment on YouTube with the same prompt. Subscribe, those usual things. What you can also do is you can go check out the link down in the description for the Rae Within, which is
my 365-day toolbox.
Yeah, it is.
We're going. We're 2.5 weeks in.
365. Well, as far as the launch day.
Of sort of the launch day, but we're months ahead of everybody.
And just to catch anyone up that's not involved, it's 365 days of audio to get your stackable 1% wins, and it's been a really fun process for us. It's a really fun project for us to work on. It's very labor intensive, a lot of sweat equity. It's going to, I think it's really going to help a lot of people. And
it's not just audio too. There are visuals. Mm-hmm. There are some breath work in there that is audio, but there is going to be yoga challenges, 3-day yoga challenges, 7-day yoga challenges. There is a visual on it, but overall it's probably 80% audio.
And it's really interesting because I find it's one of those, I kind of finally understand where people are when it comes to award season, where they put out their body of work and they're really excited for it, and they know they're not going to get that validation of an award until award season rolls around. Like by the time these people, like we'll use the movie we just saw, for example, Project Hail Mary, which was an absolute triumph. My goodness, that I was very, very happy the way they took the pages off the book and put it on screen.
Fantastic movie. One of the best movies I've seen in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
You can take your kids to see this movie. They will fall in love with it. There's nothing you have to worry about. It is fabulous. It's not hard to follow. It's a great story. It is truly one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. I love a Marvel movie so much, but sometimes when I watch a Marvel movie, I get very confused. Who's that guy? Where'd that guy come from? I don't remember that. I got to go back and see that. And they're great movies. Mm-hmm. But this was just such a refreshing tale.
Mm-hmm. So with that movie, they started working on it 2 years ago, right? And by the time they were done filming, then all the editing comes in, and then all the promotional comes in. Then it gets released, and you do all the red carpets, and you do all the interviews. You're so far removed from day one of starting that project, and then by the time award season rolls around next year, I mean, they're even further removed from the actual process of making all that, and that's kind of how I feel about this, the Rae Within 365-day mindset toolbox, is that it won't be a year from now until somebody's completed that journey where they kind of like come back and go, wow, how this changed my life and changed my mindset, and thank you so much. And we'll be like, oh, we did that like a year ago, you know? Like I almost feel like we'll have moved on to...
Well, even the thought of those first month, because the first month is kind of a little all over the place. It's like a toolbox. You're looking around like, what tools do I need? Even that, I mean, I'm going back 7, 8, 9, 12 years in journaling time. So it's also like me going back and then bringing it forward. And then, like you said, now, we're several months into planning it, and I'm getting people, with a review or, oh my gosh, I just listened today. I had a woman message me today, and she goes, oh, I love today's about the bag of apples and hanging on to rotten apples and the message that you're sending here. And she's on day 15. And then I had another woman who's on day 3. And I love that. I love that they're at different parts of their journey, as we all are. And it's just, it really, 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 really is a passion project. It really is for both of us, because it's my words and your production. And it's like a beautiful moment between the two of us, because
true collaboration.
It really is, because you listen and all the post-production, the sound effects, you make me sound, you make me, I'm good behind a mic. I'm good. Okay, I'm good. But you make me sound great. And the production is great. I'm really excited for day 52. You know why? Do you remember what day 52 is?
I know why, and we'll leave it as a surprise for those that are already on the journey and those that plan on signing up. And you can do so in the podcast description below. So that's way number 1. Way number 2. Way number 3 is, this is something you can do more for yourself. Go get some sheath underwear. Don't go to the thrift store and get it. Get yourself some sheath underwear. Believe me when I tell you, taking care of your privates is very important, and being comfortable all day long. I swear by it. It's the only stuff I wear. And
they're bamboo.
Bamboo mesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is incredible. So you can get the 20% off code RAE, R-A-E. Use that at checkout, and 20% off when you...
I think it's 15%. Type it in.
You're getting a discount. You're getting a discount when you use the promo code RAE, R-A-E. All right.
All the ways to support. We're just trying to help you out, and you're trying to help us out. Okay, I'm so excited. You said you got a topic, and I have no idea what we're chatting about today.
Yeah, well, this kind of is a bit of a... I want you to think back. I want you to really think back and explain to me why it wasn't until you got into your 30s that you had the desire to get behind the wheel of a vehicle and drive.
Okay, I didn't approve this topic.
I'm honestly curious to know, because I'm very proud of the fact that I taught you how to drive. Very proud of that, and you are a above average driver. You are a very good driver. I
can back into any parking spot. I am so good at backing in. I think everybody should back into their parking spots.
Agreed. The reason why I bring it up is because we're getting very close to having to do that for someone in our family. We're going to have to teach them how to drive. We're getting very close.
Less than a year away from our eldest getting a license.
And it's crazy to think that... Well,
I waited so long.
Well, yeah.
For context, I didn't get my Manitoba driver's license until I was 33. Mm-hmm. Now, let's just peel it back a little bit, too. Here's a few reasons why. When I was living in Bermuda, I drove a scooter. Okay? I drove a scooter. And there was a different time then. I just handed over my beginners. Paperwork went in. I drove a scooter on the other side of the... In Bermuda, you drive on the other side of the road. That's why you have to be very careful if you're a tourist going there. So I did drive a scooter. When I was in Malaysia, I took the GO train everywhere. I lived in the Golden Triangle. I took the GO train everywhere, and I didn't really leave the Golden Triangle heaps. I was by myself. It was really a challenging time to navigate. So if I was going anywhere, it was a taxi. And when I lived in Australia, I never had to drive in Australia. I would walk to a ferry, take and take a bus into the area that I was going through. Ferries were everywhere. It is abundant. It just, those cities that I lived in, you didn't need a license. And because I left Winnipeg and I was like, see, why I didn't get it when I was 16, 17?
Because
till the time I left when I was 22, like that 5-year gap.
Right. So, I mean, you didn't leave until you were 21 or 22. So that's a good solid 5 years.
My very first serious boyfriend, not my high school boyfriend, but my very first serious sort of boy, I didn't know if you know that. No, I'm just kidding. Of course you know.
What?
So not my high school boyfriend, but even him, they just drove me everywhere. They would pick me up and take me everywhere.
What a princess.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very grateful, but they were very adamant of picking me up and taking me places. And I think that comes with the complex of, we're really going to unpack it. You got a leather couch you can slide in here.
I do, but there's cat scratches all over it.
I would assume it really comes from maybe a father complex, wanting to be taken care of. And so when there's when you're 16 years old and you have a boyfriend who drives and he's going to pick you up and take you places, you're sort of just like happy to be taken care of, if I could really dive into that version of me. And then the same thing when I was 18 and I had a boyfriend for a few years, he was happy to pick me up and take me places. And I liked that. I liked being taken care of in that way. And I didn't feel the need to get it. If I were to go back and tell myself something, I would be like, get your license, bitch. Don't be asking people, you know what I mean? And it wasn't an issue for my life, but I think I would have had a different kind of independence. I remember one time, 18 years old, if you were from Winnipeg, you probably went to the Oak when it was the Oak, and which is now, I don't know what it is, but you'd go out, and I remember one time being like, okay, Candace, you're driving home. And I'm thinking, but I had my beginner's license, so I was able to drive, and people who were 2 years older could, and I remember leaving the bar, not drinking, leaving the bar, and I get in the car and I was like, it's a standard. I mean, I could probably get us there, but it was a standard. And I remember leaving in a standard, trying to drive people home in a standard, thinking the cops are going to pull us over because how shitty of a driver I am. Sure enough, pulled out, stalled. Pulled out onto Regent, stalled. Got out. I don't think I could do this. Candace, you're going to have to do this. Everybody in this car is drunk. So I did it anyway. And I got everybody to the first point, and I was like, everybody's got to figure it out from here. I mean, that's going deep into the memory bank. But I wish I did. Well, I think there's a level of like independence, but there's something about being in Bermuda and having a scooter and taking the roads, and I don't know. I felt like that was a level of independence. And then coming to going to a big city like Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur is a massive city. I mean, this again was going back 20 years ago, and they're jumping on a GO train. Why do I need a car? I get to take a ferry. Even in Bermuda, you would take ferries everywhere. So it was just a different kind of communication and a different kind of independence that I carried around.
Well, I find it fascinating because your mother was a race car driver. I mean, she drag raced.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was the third. Everybody forgot about me. She probably didn't even know I was around for a while.
But there was such a culture, and I
love cars, and I love fast cars, and I love Formula One. Yeah, I agree. It's not a regret. I don't look at it as a regret. Right now, when you ask that question, I can objectively say I loved being taken care of. I loved.
And you still do.
I do love. Of course, I love being taken. Like, and there's nothing. I have 3 boys in my life. I have one man and 2 young. And when I come home and I love that feeling. And so but to go back to that version of me when I was young and a teenager and early 20s. I had somebody in my life who was just happy to drive over and pick me up from work and take me home, and they were like, I would love to spend time with you. And I just, I just said, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, if I were to go back, I would say, get your license. My
license was, especially in my hometown or my birthplace. I started calling it my birthplace because Winnipeg, I feel, is my hometown. Yeah, I would agree with Fort McMurray was my birthplace. And man, it was extremely important. I mean, I remember taking the transit to school back and forth. It was always buses. But getting your license, and keep in mind, in Alberta back in the 90s, you could get your learner's license at 14 years old.
Really?
14 years old. And once you turned 16, there was no restrictions. There wasn't restrictions like there are now. You could drive any time of the day, didn't need to have someone else in the vehicle. 16 years old, you're on your own. Yeah. And things have changed. And I don't know if I fully agree with all the changes, but based on the phones and social media and all the distractions, but our vehicles are so much safer now than they were back then.
Oh yeah, it beeps. Beep. Why are you beeping?
Yeah,
you're too close to the car. It's just like there's nothing here.
So my prompt today is, I'm curious to know, and I'm going to ask you to flex your memory a little bit here, but do you remember, and I know your first car was the one that we shared together as far as the one that you took ownership of, but do you remember any specific vehicles? And the prompt for the comments down in the comment section below is, what was your first vehicle and what was your favorite vehicle?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Well, my favorite vehicle would be, when we first met, you had a Genesis, and I loved that car. It was so good. It was like our romance car. We sold that because we got a family and we couldn't fit everything. I loved that as a family. And then what was the other question? Well, so I grew up with a mom.
Well, you never drove that vehicle.
No. Oh, so I had to have driven it? Can't I just admire a car? I admire a lot of cars. I love cars. Like I love, especially, I am dreaming of one day having a vintage car in the driveway that I could take to and from the golf course with you. I love the idea of an old vintage car. I'm going to have to learn how to drive stick. I don't know how. But I love... You
do. You know how. You're just not good at it.
Yeah, I'm not good at it.
Because I made it very clear when I was teaching you how to drive, the ability and...
Well, I just don't do it. We don't have a stick car for me to practice.
We did when we were down in Mexico.
Yeah, that's a whole different... I drove everywhere in Mexico because you'd go for 3 months. So I had to drive. I had to learn very quickly. And lots of times we'd go to Chichen Itza. It's 2.5 hours away. And you're driving in Mexico. And the rules? I complain now about people on the perimeter not using their their blinker, but that's a whole different ball game out there.
Down in Mexico, they're more like suggestions.
It is a free all suggestion.
So I remember when I was teaching, I said the biggest advantage you can give yourself is being able to get into any vehicle and know how to drive it. And so you do know how. You know the...
I would probably stall it 6 or 7 times, and I don't want to be on a hill, but we're in Manitoba, so there's not going to be a hill.
Right.
But here's the difference, and I'll give you... So with thinking about all that, you taught me, right? So think about before I was being driven and I was being catered to, which was really kind. And I'm very grateful for those times and those people in my life at that time who would do that for me. But you were like, you're going to learn. You're going to learn. And I was like, yeah, probably.
Probably about time.
I remember it was like, we have kids. I should probably, because I got to take them to and from. And that's part of my story. But as far as cars go, I admire a lot of vintage cars. What are yours?
Well, I have memories of almost every single vehicle that my family had growing up, including the '86 Jetta that we had, that I nicknamed the Jedi.
Of course you did.
It was red, 4-door with a roof rack on it. My first vehicle that I had ownership of was
a Cutlass, right?
No, it was an '86 Pontiac Parisienne.
Oh, Parisienne. Okay.
Yeah, and that thing, the boys called it the Titanic, because it was big and it was gray and it had a couch in the back.
I feel like everybody's first car should be like that, like this kind of, now I think a lot of first cars are like kids are getting BMWs and you're like, I think you got to work up to that. If you give them that, where you had a big old gray car.
Well, what's amazing is over in the Middle East, where women are now allowed to drive in most countries, the husbands are buying them Hondas and buying them Nissans. It's like, well, if you're going to smack up a vehicle, go smack up one of those.
Really?
Yeah. Those are becoming very popular.
I love a Nissan. We used to have a Nissan.
Yeah, we've had 3 Nissans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My favorite was the
Armada.
It was on a truck chassis. That's what I loved about it so much. It was so big.
Yeah.
And we had to get rid of that too.
Well, we've had a lot of vehicles. Going all the way back to the Genesis, which would be my favorite. The 2006.
That's the goal. The goal is for me, for Dave's 50th, is for us to be able to, because we're going to have to get a second car with our son within the next year. So the car that we currently have, we want to give to him, and then we would hopefully get a Genesis. So that's a year. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
There's any Genesis dealers out there? Let me know if you want to do a trade for fist bumps.
Well, look, I love that car so much, and the reason why we traded it in and went to a Nissan Pathfinder was because we had the Great Dane. We had Vegas, our Great Dane. And
I was pregnant.
Yeah, and when our son was born, I remember putting them both in the back seat going, we're going to need a bigger boat. And so we ended up going with the SUV, and that just made sense. But the heartbreaking part was I traded it in locally, and our last house that we lived in, whoever bought it lived in that area because I saw it at least once a month.
Oh, we always
driving
saw it.
around in the area. Like I know that was it. Like there's no like, oh, maybe. No, that was my old car.
Dave could see the prints of all of his like former lives around it.
Oh, love that vehicle. Loved that vehicle. When we were down in Mexico, we had 3 different vehicles just because we were renting, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I got to drive. We had a Land Rover for a while. That was cool. I felt real cool driving like that. And then we got a big old van, and I thought, wow.
Well, we had a van because we had a lot of people coming down to visit, and we were picking people up from the airport.
Yeah, so that was cool. It had one of those. It had the door on both sides, and I remember thinking, well, that's pretty cool, actually, especially when you go to the beach. When you go to the beach and you're loading kids up, and you got to throw stuff in. I mean, it's hot as out there, right? So. Yeah, that was. I would say. I mean, one thing I think you want to get is a bike, like a motorcycle. Right?
I'd like to get another motorcycle. I used to have a 1973 Norton 750 Commando, and I didn't drive it as much as I wanted to here in Manitoba because the potholes are just brutal, and driving inside the city is a bit of a nightmare. And driving outside the city was probably the most enjoyable part. Like getting out of the city was the biggest pain in the butt, and then getting out into the country that was always a nice drive. But I find it interesting that you used to drive a scooter when you were in Bermuda, and then when you and I met, you're like, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with motorcycles," and so I never really drove it when you were together.
Maybe I was a bit of a bitch at that time. I don't know why I would have said that. I think maybe I was. If I were to go back to it, I think we had Angus pretty quickly, and when you become a parent, or for me, when I became a parent, I became very fearful of everything. I felt like, everything's freaked me out. So if you went on the bike, oh my gosh, what if something happened? Oh my goodness, what if something happened? And I know I was just living in a fear bubble, and I wish somebody would have, but that's part of your process, right? Like you're taking your kid out for the first time. I think of when we first had Angus, how much shit I would pack. Like, it was like, okay, you're going for 3 hours and you'd have a bag and another bag. And what if this happens and everything like that? So it was just in this mindset of like padding your life that part of it just felt like that for me. So, now circling back, like, let's go get one. I don't want one of those side things though. I'm not jumping.
Sidecars?
No.
Oh, those are awesome.
Nah, I'm good.
I grew up.
I want to be on the back.
I
got a great butt. Let's post. let's out.
And I'm getting a T-shirt that says, "If you can read this, the bitch fell off." I grew up in a sidecar. Yeah, on the back of my T-shirt. I grew up in a sidecar. My dad had an old 1983 Honda 1100 motorcycle with a sidecar on it, and I was in the sidecar until my brother was born, and then I was on the back holding onto my dad, and then my mom and my brother would hop into the sidecar.
Oh, you could all fit in it?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Well, yeah, so my mom and my brother in the sidecar, and then I'd be behind my dad hanging on.
I do like when you see those videos online when the dog is in the sidecar with the little glasses. I'm into that.
Well,
I get one with the cats.
It's amazing. And this is a line from Russell Peters, but in India, they treat scooters like minivans.
No, and Mexico. I've seen it firsthand.
Man, oh man.
I remember seeing a family of 4, a kid on the front, I don't know, I think it was the dad, the mom, and then another kid in the back. But still to this day, I think we have a picture of it. And I don't know for sure. But do you remember what happened when we went to Celestune? Yeah,
there was a guy.
We pulled. So when you go into Celestune, you drive through these jungle, it's open roads, and all of a sudden the roads start to close in, and there's a cheetah. You're careful, like cheetah crossings, bike. So you're like, holy moly.
Jaguar
crossings. And so that's about a 15-minute drive, and it's really tight. I mean, I know they were widening the road, but it was really tight. So you're driving down, and then all of a sudden you start to get into the town, which is really exciting. Just
tiny little beach town.
Super tight. This is where you go see the flamingos out in that area, in Progresso, in that area. You go out there, you go for tours, and you see flamingos, and it's an amazing experience. And I'll never forget, as we drove into the town, we're looking for where to park, and what do we see?
There was a guy on a scooter, and he had his St. Bernard propped in front of him with goggles on, just tongue hanging out. And I was amazed, to see another St. Bernard, because I thought we had the only one in all of Mexico. And just the dog, super chill. Like
And
I've
it
been
was
on there
just
100
sitting
times.
on the front of the scooter, like a bum with the paws up. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh, this is my kind of town. It's just a different way of living. And maybe that's part of it. It's my process of like, it's just a different way of living. And I'm glad. I mean, I drive, but I make up for the driving now. I drive more now.
Oh, yeah.
I drive
Do you ever?
so much.
Yeah.
I drive more than, I'm making up for all those years. You know, if you think about how much I drive now. Yeah. So.
I just find it fascinating because your mother being a very, very good driver, especially at her age, she's a above average driver. My father, who is an incredible mechanic, could tear a motorcycle apart with his eyes closed and put it back together, and the same as a vehicle. I mean, he was the one that kept all of our vehicles running and grew up with a mechanic father as well. It's hard for me to say this out loud, but I don't think I was the son my dad was hoping for, because he didn't necessarily have the patience and I didn't have the desire. And the two of those in the same equation didn't equal out to me spending a lot of time with my dad. And that's what he spent his time doing, was working on vehicles all the time.
And it's interesting because our eldest son is that kid.
Yeah.
Our eldest son would be into teach me. Because here I am, didn't get my driver's license until I was in my 30s. Our eldest son wants a pilot's license in the next 2 years. Like, he's like, Mom, I want to fly the skies. It's like, that's a whole different thought pattern. Sure, you want to get your license, but you also want to get your, you mean his big goal is to own a plane, right? I mean, at this very moment, Mom, we can buy a Cessna. I'm thinking, where? I'm going to need a hangar, but this is what you want. You want to, nurture your children to have their chase their dreams.
I read about a neighborhood that's in Texas where it's a fly-in neighborhood only. So once you went, there's a landing strip, and then you taxi your plane into your giant hangar of a garage, and then everyone gets around via golf cart, because there's a grocery store there, and there's a golf course there and whatnot. But yeah, it's fly in, fly
It's
out.
your medium, right? Like, what's your vehicle essentially to get you to and from? I mean, I'd be fine with driving around a golf cart for the rest of my life. I feel like that would be great.
Yeah.
Just get me in a golf cart.
Well, the way we're moving, I mean, with these Waymos and all of these driverless vehicles, I mean,
No, thanks.
Do you remember the
No,
movie?
thanks. I'm not getting in one of those. You can put it down. If I'm getting on one of those, something's wrong. I'm not getting in something that doesn't have a driver.
Well, look, there's two movies I can think of off the top of my head. One being Minority Report, and one being I, Robot, where all of the vehicles were autonomous.
Yeah, no thanks.
And
It's not for me.
Well,
Haven't
look,
you seen how many wrongs happen in those things?
it's no different. It's no different than you getting on the SkyTrain when you were living in Malaysia.
There is a person driving the front of that. There is a commander-in-chief or whatever they're called.
Well, there's still going to be somebody at the helm making sure, at the
Yeah, but there isn't
headquarters.
anybody in the helm. There's some sort of robot. You've seen so many they're turning the wrong way. We've all seen the vehicle, probably all seen it, where they're all in the wrong spot. No, not for me. I mean,
Honestly,
we
I
talk about
I
this
would
all the
take
time. You're the techie. I'm the rooted ground person. Go take your shoes off. Go walk in the grass. You're like, hey, you need a robot in the house. Like, we're very different in that regard.
Look, can you admit that you would trust a robot over some of the drivers that you've seen on the perimeter highway?
I feel like it's the same.
Because there's a lot of bad
Oh,
drivers
there's a
out
lot
there.
of bad drivers.
and
I
even-
think my biggest pet peeve is use your blinker. Oh no, my second pet peeve is
mine is get off your phone.
Oh,
Get off
yeah.
drive the vehicle. Get both hands
I
on
don't
the
see
wheel.
that a heap for me. I drive the perimeter all the time in Winnipeg. One thing that really drives me nuts outside of that, the not using your blinker, one really big pet peeve I have in Manitoba is when you're on the perimeter, if you're choosing to pass the person, you want to pass me or you want to pass the person in front of me, that's cool. You do that. You pass and you go back in front. But the people that sit in the passing lane at the same speed as the other person, and there's two people, like that. And the other thing is, I see this all the time. Big trucks sometimes will be double laned when you're at a stop line. The big trucks are smart enough to know that they want to get over to the right lane. But people behind on this one are like, get so frustrated. He needs to get going. Everybody has to go. Then he moves over and you'll pass. But no, they got to go and pass him all the way around. And I'm just a little more patience. Pump your brakes. Literally, just pump your brakes a little bit. There is, again, I drive so much. I don't see as much texting on the perimeter.
Inside the city all the time. Oh my God. It blows my mind. I mean, like, we live in a day and age where you can hook it up to Bluetooth. I answer text messages through my voice control.
Yeah.
Like, it goes
No excuse.
It goes to ding, text message from Candace. Would you like to reply? Yes,
No.
I would. So I mean,
She gets me everywhere.
the technology is there, and I mean, I just, everyone has their pet peeve in traffic. Mine is people that are, and I won't even say distracted. I understand if you need to eat or if you need to drink or if you're talking in the vehicle, the radio's on. But there are people watching movies. They'll set their phone up in front of their dash and watch a movie while they're driving. Like, what are you doing? So those are the people that need Waymos. Those are the people that need self-driving vehicles.
No, that's not okay.
Oh,
that's not okay.
I literally see people, and those dash-mounted ones, and I understand the people up there for their navigation and whatnot, and I get that. But I've seen people running videos. Like I'll pull up, and I know most people when they get to a stop sign they don't look around. I do because I'm curious to know that person's watching a video.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
Clicking away and tapping away. It's insane.
It's just also a good reminder why people feel like they can't be disconnected. You know, like you can't.
Totally. Well, look, like I am able to answer text messages. I'm able to answer phone calls. I'm able to ask my my AI if I have a question or whatnot. You can access all of that through the technology. You don't need to be tapping away having your. They actually say that texting and driving is more dangerous than drinking and driving because you're taking your eyes off the road.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Scary.
Yeah, it is really scary.
Before we go, where are you in your bid to go absolutely driving yourself crazy before you get on stage for your fitness competition?
12 weeks out as of right now. And 12 weeks out, we just upped my workout.
What does that
I was
mean?
feeling so good. I did my check-in. I'm really happy. I'm 12 weeks out. And then, boom, 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 let's shake it up. So I went from 10,000 steps to effective today, starting at 14,000 steps. I was doing 3 times a week at 30-minute cardio, high-intensity cardio. Cardio cannot count against the steps, so they do not match. So I cannot count those cardio steps towards my 14,000 or my 10,000 before. So we went from 3 times for 30 minutes. Now it's 6 times a week at 40 minutes. So quite a lot of heavy cardio, but now we're at that 12-week. Then we hit the full cut around the 9-week mark. My workouts are daily abs. My workouts are glute focus. We're really focusing on lower.
Focus on that ass.
Focusing on it. I mean, that's a big part of points, and that's a big aspect of it. So to be honest, today I'm really trying to figure out how to get it all in. That's the big thing because 14,000 steps is a lot of steps.
How do you get it all in that ass?
And then on top of that, you have to add 40 minutes of cardio plus the workout. So now it's starting to, today I woke up and you're like, are you all right? I'm like, I need a minute to process all of it. I accept this. I'm accept where I'm at. And I'm excited because I do believe that the person who enjoys the process is the person who wins at the end. But I got to figure out how to make it all happen. We don't have a treadmill. We don't have a bike. We don't have any of that. You always say like do Zumba at home. Mm-hmm. Now it's getting a little nicer, so I can get, a little bit more quicker walks in. Like I could do 20-minute walks. It's just.
Well, keep in mind the idea of cardiovascular. The cardio is cardiovascular, which means the heart. So the idea is to get your heart rate up. So it doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be. It's the idea is to get your heart rate up, and you can do that by dancing. Dancing is a wonderful cardiovascular event.
Yeah, but there's times where I have so much work to do with this new project that I would love to be on a. People have those ones where the desk goes up and then you're walking on a treadmill. So you're walking on a treadmill while you're doing like those things are also like what's the expression? Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Mm. So, just things like that. I'm just in the processing of what that looks like. So that'll stay consistent for about 2-3 weeks. And we've just completely flipped my food last week. So it's just, sometimes you feel like a bit of a science experiment, to be completely honest. And I'm just processing today what that looks like and what that feels like. I feel really good. I just have to figure out how to do it because you don't want to be 8 o'clock at night going, oh my gosh, I still need 5,000 steps and I didn't get in ABB. Like you really got to try and conquer it a little earlier in the day. But we also don't have a lifestyle where we have a second car and I'm going to the gym in the morning. So my afternoons are where everything gets stacked. So that's where I'm at. We're 12 weeks out. If you want to come to the competition, let me know. You can leave a comment too. You can come and watch. I would, June 13th here in Winnipeg locally, top 3 in any of those leagues will go to Calgary in October.
Follow along on social media. All the links are down below. Go check out the 365 Mindset Toolbox called the Rae Within. You can also save yourself some money on the best underwear the world has ever created called Sheath Underwear. Have a great week. Thank you for supporting the show. Go comment down below. Favorite vehicle, first vehicle.
Yeah, I like that.
Really curious to know.
Bye! Oh, that is not. Well, no wonder why. She probably doesn't like being picked up like that.
That's why their mothers would pick them up. They're fine. All right, you're that one's driving me crazy. How about that?
Yeah.
Scratching at the bottom of the couch and the scratching at the bottom of the bed and scratching at the bottom of this and scratching at the bottom of that.